Lovely. What is it?
I had a happy childhood, I would say so. I think, to be honest, you don't really think about it that much when you're there, because obviously as a kid, your mindset's not that broadened, so it's more just like, ooh, what shall I play with today? What shall I watch today? But I remember my mum said that when I was very first starting to develop, when I used to punch my chest because I didn't want anything to grow. And obviously that's a lot and it means a lot, but I wouldn't have thought about it. When I was like really tiny in the bath, my mum had to explain how brilliant and beautiful having a vagina was, because I used to sit in the bath and be like, Mum, where's my willy? I don't understand why I don't have a willy. And this is an infant. And she'd be like, no, it's beautiful, you've got to love your body parts and stuff. Whereas I think in the culture we're in now, if your kid says that, you can tell there's something going on in there. Just at the end of college, I was in a very, very good place. And the next step was just, drama school. So the mental health really kicked in because of them deciding to focus on this find out who you are thing. They took it very seriously. They would have sessions of meditation. They would we'd all have to go in and lie down and just try and think about ourselves. We'd have to write reflective notes on ourselves. It was so intense. It's the sort of thing that quite a lot of people, I imagine, probably have never done that in their entire life. And I think the biggest thing that scared me was the more I did that, the more I realised I wasn't where I should be. The more I realised how out of place I was. And I couldn't quite put a pin in what it was. The amount of panic attacks I would have in ballet, just from having to be stood in the outfit, was ridiculous. Every time I caught myself in the mirror, I was like, this is wrong. This is so wrong. And I just had to figure out why. And as I said, growing up, transgender wasn't really a thing for me. I didn't know about transgender people. No one talked about transgender people. They very, very, very rarely talked about gay people. So it was so hard to be like, there was no word to fill in. It was like, I'm wrong. This doesn't feel right. Why do I look like this? I don't feel like this on the inside. I don't make sense. I feel like I'm in somebody else's body. And there was no definition for it for me. So it was just every day getting up became almost impossible. And I reached a point where I didn't go into drama school. I would literally lie in bed and not move. And this was probably the first time I got this depressed, ever. But I think what happened was everything came crashing down on me. And for the first time since the age of 7, when I started doing musical theatre stuff and performance, I was like, I'm no good at this. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't be in this environment. But I have no other skills. There is nothing for me. If I can't do this, I can't do anything. And I felt like I had let the world down. And I felt so crap within myself. I was like, I am nothing. I'm absolutely nothing. And I just got to the point where I was like, I need to not exist. And I would go to the beach a lot because it was literally, it was in my eye line from my window. And it was 5 minutes at most to get to the beach. And obviously, you get built up as the sea is all calming, and it's like, I'll go and I'll calm down and it's fine. And I went into this mindset where I was listening to music and I just started walking, and I was like, this is fine, everything's fine, I don't need to worry about myself, I'll just sit and I'll breathe. But without registering what I was doing, I was taking my coat off and I was putting jewellery on the coat. I was put my phone there, and then the next thing I knew, I was walking into the sea. And I can only describe it as being like, it's like being under some kind of trance, because you're so empty and you can't feel anything. Like literally doing this, I wouldn't be able to feel that I'm moving. And it was only when I got about here and the water like started to hit my mouth, I like woke up and I freaked out. I have no idea what like got me to come out of it, but I am so thankful for it because I was so close. It was around then that I think I phoned my mum and was like, I need to come home. I think leading up to going home, I started to watch videos on YouTube of transgender YouTubers and transgender people and like documentaries. And I don't know what started it. I really can't remember. But something must have like said in my brain, oh, let's watch this. And I was like, oh, maybe I'm just curious and stuff. But the more that I heard these people talk about their stories and the more they would speak about it, the more I was like, fuck. Like, that's it. So as I got home, immediately, without saying anything, I think I said to my mum something like, oh, I'm just gonna go cosplay. And I ran upstairs and I had this binder that wasn't a proper binder. It was quite dangerous. Not very safe. But I put it on and I put it on the tightest setting it went. And I chucked on, I think it was like some shorts and like a t-shirt. I was consciously looking for the most masculine things I had in my wardrobe. And I took my hair, because I still had relatively long hair at this point, and I just chucked it all in a hat. I did a Shakespeare. Oh, they've put on a hat, they're a boy now. But what's crazy is I was shaking. I remember I was shaking because I was like, the more I did, the more I like fastened that and put that, and the more I did, the more comfortable I was getting. And then I finally looked at myself in the mirror and I just started crying. I just started crying because I suddenly made sense. The thing with mental health is that the more that you sit on your own, the more you get just caught up in it, and you can just talk yourself down and down and down into this deep spiral. And a lot of the things that you get told is things like, no, I'll go for a walk, just like get out of the house. And the problem is that when I was in that place and I would look out my window at the sea, it became almost like personified. And it's like they say, it feels like it's just drawing you in. After that time in Brighton, I hadn't really been back to the seaside since then. That was late 2017. And I love the seaside, I always have. I loved swimming since I was a young kid. I trained to be a lifeguard when I was about 16. So the fact that something that meant so much to me and that I loved so much ended up being something that not gave me fear, but just would remind me of that dark time. And, you know, the thing that I trusted and that I loved the most ended up being sort of my ticket out. But in summer of this year, we actually came here and it was a really, really beautiful sunny day, and we went to the beach and I went swimming in the sea. And that was the first time I'd been in the sea, like properly, since I was in there for a very different reason. And it was so freeing, because just to swim around and to see my friends smiling and to be laughing, and to just, at one point I just sort of lay there and just looked at the sky and looked at the sun and just thought, this is fine. And it was at that point that I realised how far I'd come, because the thought wouldn't even cross my mind. I think it was probably about May 2018, so a couple months or so after I properly came out, I went to them and was like, I'm trans, please add me to your list. They wrote back being like, okay, we've put you on our list. We'll get back to you saying, you're on our list, we've put you there. The next steps is we will be in touch and we will set up an interview with a medical professional who will basically be like, you're sane, we believe you. So they basically say, okay, they're not just having a mental breakdown, they're not rushing into this, they're a trans person, we need to help them out, we will set you on your transition. For me, they would put me on testosterone, and it would be shots or gel, whichever. And then within 3 months, your voice drops, and that's a huge thing. And as soon as the voice drops, everything else starts to follow. It is basically, it's a second puberty. I tried to phone them in, I think, December last year. Corona hadn't happened, but there was whispers. I phoned them and she was like, everything's been delayed at the moment and we can't talk to anyone about waiting list times. Check the website. And I was like, I'm sorry, I tried to check the website. It doesn't tell me shit. No, I didn't say that, but it doesn't tell me anything. And I literally just want to confirm that I'm still in the system somewhere. I was supposed to be in an appointment in September because one of your staff told me that that was definite. And they judge you on your mental stability in that appointment. And I question this because you can work really hard to get your mental health really good, like I did. I went to therapy, I came out the other side of therapy. But then they make you wait, and they make you wait, and they make you wait. And then they expect you to go in with really good mental health so that they can be like, this is fine. It's a big thing, in the trans community to cosplay. Not even kidding, I've looked at statistics. And I think the thing that I love about cosplay is that I'm not me for a minute. I'm whoever I want to be. Because you embody a character and you take on this role for however long, whether it's for an entire convention, whether it's just for a video that you're making, whether it's just for I don't know, just because. And it helps because you get caught up in a character and you feed off the energy of that character. And if you are feeling particularly miserable or something, then you could take on a character that's really happy-go-lucky, a really energetic character. So you suddenly, it takes your mind off it because you're like, oh, I'm putting that aside and I'll just be this for a bit. I started posting online in January 2019, and it just gave me an excuse to cosplay. It meant that I had somewhere to put the stuff, so I would feed off the energy from it, and it really is, it's exciting because it's just like when you're a kid and you're playing dress up. If you think back to how excited you get because you're like, oh my god, you can wear this and I'll put this on, and then okay, and then you walk out of the room, you walk in and suddenly, oh, I'm a sailor from over here and stuff. It's just really, it's just fun. It's simple, pure fun. And I think everyone would benefit from being a bit silly and a bit cringy now and then. I think, and honestly, I'd been interested in Japanese culture since I was maybe 13. I think it started because one of my friends really liked anime, and I was like, I've never watched anime. What's anime? And she was like, oh, watch this. And more than the actual program, I was focusing on, I was like, oh my god, so that's how the lunchboxes look in Japan. That's so cool. Oh my god, that's how the streets look. Oh wow, I'm gonna look at some real life stuff. And then just constantly, I never got bored of it. That was the thing with Japan, is I was never bored of Japanese culture because I was so fascinated. And I think it's because Japan is one of those places that's, well, for us, it's so different to our daily life. The way you eat at the table and stuff, and little things. I'd be like, oh my god, they should have that here. And then I got to a point where I was like, screw it, why am I here? I should just go to Japan. I clearly should go to Japan. I love the culture. And then I was like, I don't know Japanese. Damn it. So I looked up, as you do, the next best thing. Duolingo, you should just look at what places in the UK have university courses on Japanese. And I looked at YSJ and I was like, oh, it feels like a college. And as I said, I loved being at college. the entire open day at the university. Everyone was so lovely and so friendly. And I was just like, I could definitely live here. I could be here.
すみません。マクドナルドはどこですか？
あそこにデパートがありますね。